Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle. I'm joined today by energy and environment reporter Jeremy Beaman. Jeremy, there were cheers and jeers when President Joe Biden talked about oil production and oil more generally in his State of the Union address. What are some of the things that people who really would like to see us ramp up production saying?
Well, Biden, as you mentioned, Biden sort of went off script, offered some of his musings, part of his broader remarks going after oil companies for, in his view, not increasing their oil production enough to bring down oil and gas prices last year. And so what he said was basically, hey, we're going to need oil for a while, he said. Then he said for a decade. That got some cheers and jeers, as you mentioned, in the room. Probably more jeers outside the room, too, from environmental groups and other clean energy interest groups who want to sort of shift away from oil for electric vehicles' sake and transportation and to use other sources. And of course, Republicans, that's something that they've been sort of telling Biden all along, since he's been in the White House, that we need more oil and that he needs to do more to support oil production in terms of his policies. And so this is, that axiom, I guess, that Biden gave, it's something that others in his administration have said, others of his proxies have said in public settings. It's kind of the first time we've heard Biden put a number on it, the next decade. But again, he sort of was reiterating again just that he wants these oil companies to produce more oil, and many of them are, just not sort of at the I guess the rate that he wants. And he's not given a barrel per day rate or anything. It's just sort of a throwing it all at them that they just need to be doing more.
Biden seems to have a little bit of a Goldilocks and the three bears problem when it comes to this issue. The environmental activists say that his transition away from fossil fuels is going too slowly. Republicans say it's too fast. Biden says it's just right.
Yeah, he's trying to find this medium because he is dealing with these competing interests, and he has to deal, as we observed this week, he has to deal with the economy where it is, and we need oil, and the question, the difficult thing for him is how far do I go? To what degree do I support more oil production without abandoning or showing signs that I'm abandoning my climate change agenda? And it's a balance that he's trying to find.
He's, though, rejected the Republican criticism that he's been particularly hostile to oil production or energy production in America more generally.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's a politically loaded issue, and everyone sort of picks the pieces of the whole puzzle that they elevate and to make their argument. Oil production is back up to where it was when COVID basically started in spring of 2020. It's been gradually increasing. What you hear from Republicans is that Biden has hampered production actively with what he's done. The oil industry generally is a little more. What they're saying is Biden hasn't given us the signals that we need to go faster, to go further. They're a little less ready to say what Biden has done has been holding us down to return to where we were. But what they are saying is we need more positive signals to know that whatever we spend, we can get back and more.
So Biden has frequently locked horns with the oil companies who he wants to produce more over their profits, and that didn't change in the State of the Union address. Walk us through a little bit of the sort of dynamic between him and the producers.
If you remember, Biden said last summer that Exxon made more money than God.
Right.
That was in June, before their best quarter in the third quarter. And then, of course, by the end of the year, they ended up making more money than they've ever made.
And he said some of this is war profiteering, given the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
And the higher prices, which are very much tied to the war, did increase the value of oil and gas and natural gas and refined products, which drove their profits. It is demonstrably true that it's connected to the war. Now, where he's sort of going after them is saying, you guys haven't done enough, you haven't invested enough, and there's also the argument that they are setting the price in some way. Now, this not all Democrats make this argument. Sheldon Whitehouse makes that argument that you guys can set your own price. Certainly, the sort of going treatment of the market is that it's set on, oil prices are set on a global market, and we give at the price at which oil is set, and so that's how oil companies tend to sort of clean their hands of it. But again, they're also saying we're increasing production. And Chevron, for example, it's not the same story across the board. We talk about these companies as if they're a monolith, but they do act differently. In fact, if you look at BP and Shell in Europe, their capital plans are significantly different than Exxon's and Chevron's in the U.S. And Exxon and Chevron actually performed better last year because they have sort of gone green at a slower pace and have a larger oil and gas portfolio still. But Chevron had record oil and gas production last year, and so it's a complicated story and one where again, Biden says give us more, but he's not really setting a level, and so oil companies, I mean, the Chevrons of the world are saying we're doing this.
And what do the companies say about whether they need a certain amount of certainty when it comes to making investments and plans for the future?
They're saying we need the long-term certainty, and forecasts, even the sort of aggressive ones, scenario building, you have to make all these assumptions about where policy is at this point, where it could be, or where it could be going. But most of them, even the ones that assume a sort of aggressive transition away from fossil fuels, still foresee oil and gas demand through mid-century. It might shift as to a share of total energy, but it's and basically no scenario is demand going to dissolve completely.
Sure.
And so that kind of thing is what backers of the industry and the industry itself are pointing to and saying the economies of the world are going to need this product, and we need you guys and government to appreciate that and to support that.
Thanks for drilling down on that, Jeremy. You can read Jeremy and subscribe to our Daily on Energy newsletter at WashingtonExaminer.com.